Go ahead. Go ahead. We are, baby. Well, we'll see who joins. I got to turn these on because this is the microphone. Hello again, everybody. Look at me. All right, fantasy football questions before kickoff. Kelton, thanks for joining tonight. Brady, Julian, thanks for joining. Let me know if you have any questions. Ooh. Well, let's see. Is it the same? Turn off live preview. Fabian, thanks for joining. Let me know if you have any questions about fantasy. We had the same issue we had yesterday. Turn off live preview. Layout tips. Okay, let's see. Ask Higgins, Devontae Smith, or Tyreek. Well, I wouldn't go with Tyreek just because he hasn't put up any numbers. Do we know for a fact? That Higgins is definitely playing? I'm just going to look that up. I'm kind of throwing that out there, but let's see what it says. Higgins quadricep remained limited in practice Thursday. Back-to-back limited practice have Higgins, who missed the past 3 games, trending toward a potential return to action this weekend against the Chargers. Unless he practices fully Friday, however, the wideout seems likely to be listed as questionable for Sunday's game. Well, essentially with Higgins, he's got to play or he's got to participate in a full practice tomorrow to essentially be able to play. That it's not so much a rule as it is just sort of what the teams do. So if he doesn't practice tomorrow, he's probably not going to play. But let's look at Devontae Smith. I just wouldn't go with Tyreek Hill right now. They played a team last week, obviously the Rams, a team that they should have handled, and he should have, Tua should have done well, and Tyreek should have done well, and he didn't. Devontae Smith against Jacksonville, they play tonight. Okay. Against Washington wide receivers. Where's the big W? Oh, they're number 4. The Eagles are number 1. Commanders are number 4. I don't know if that's a great. I would actually think, Meow, please stop spamming me, okay? It doesn't make me want to read it. I'm sorry to say that, but just don't spam, please. You have a better chance of me reading it if you don't spam. Couple things. If you want to definitely get your questions answered, you can send me a gift on TikTok. I know we have some people on YouTube right now. But if you have any questions on TikTok and you want to jump to the head of the line, get your golden ticket, if you will, you can send me a gift. That'll get you right away. I'm still trying to figure out. Let's see. I would say, if Higgins plays, but you're not going to know. So you're either going to not play Devontae Smith or Higgins you won't know about. So you almost have to play Devontae Smith tonight, because my fear is if you don't play Devontae Smith, Higgins might not play, and then you're left with Tyreek, who's not putting up, over 10 points the last 3 weeks. He's had 10, 10, and 10. And in a 10-team league, you want your wide receivers or running backs or flex to get 13 points minimum. And so he won't have that. So I would almost say go with Devontae Smith. It's going to be a tough matchup, but both teams against wide receivers are a tough matchup. Philadelphia is one of the best defenses right now in the last 4 weeks. They've had their number one against quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and number 7 against tight ends. That's Phillies. So let's see. Given those 3 names, I would go with Devontae Smith tonight, because if you wait, you're going to be stuck with either Tyreek or Higgins, and Higgins might not play. So, all right. Let's see. Again, if you follow me or if you've gifted in the past, you'll go to the head of the line, since we're all caught up on gifts right now, or no one's actually gifted as of right now. We've only been on 5 minutes. But if you want to jump to the head of the line, you can send a gift like 1 rose, which is 1 coin, and that'll get things settled in for you. Hey, Josh Ryan, how are you? Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. God, what an idiot. All right, I don't even know why I go on YouTube. Bunch of idiots on YouTube. Okay. So anybody follow me, since we're caught up with gifting? I don't think anybody's followed me. Anybody? Oh, Jack Letman has. Where is Jack Letman? Did Jack have a question? Yeah. DK a start. Well, if he's healthy, let me just make sure that he's DK Metcalf. He had a full practice today. It just says up on the screen on TikTok. I have the videos going on both YouTube and TikTok. Dude, stop. God. We are live. Sorry about that. Some idiot on YouTube was spelling out awful whatever. It's not even worth repeating. Okay. So DK had let me just get back into the zone. Sorry about that, guys. It's just some guy on YouTube was putting something awful up. It was actually 2 different people, apparently. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Nathaniel. My buddy Nathaniel on YouTube is like, you can't talk like that on any of the live streams. So, all right. Okay. DK practiced today, so there's like a 75% chance that he's going to play. The only question would be is make sure that he practices tomorrow, or read the injury report next to the name, so you know whether or not he's playing, or if he's healthy, or you want to make sure that he doesn't miss practice tomorrow, or he doesn't go backwards and have a limited practice. But for the most part, if he practiced today, it's a good chance he's going to play at the next game. So, all right, let's see. Hey, Jackson's here. All right, Jackson, let's see. Let's get your question. Then I'll go to John Jackson. Okay, where's Jackson? Jackson John D-Cell. Oh, what is it? What? Hold on. Oh my God, there's a lot of idiots. Nathaniel, I'm just banning those guys. I don't know if I should ban them or put them in timeout, but I don't know what's going on. They're not funny. All right. So I have Jackson. I got to find Jackson. I see John's question. I see D-Sale 19. Okay. Jackson, I'm not seeing a question. So it's one of 3 things there it is. Daniels or Murray. Okay. Daniels tonight plays the number 1 defense in the last 4 weeks. Now, I'm not going to say they're the number 1 defense for the whole season, but against quarterbacks, they're number 1, lowest quarterback numbers per game, like on average. Running backs, they're number 1. Wide receivers are number 1. This is Philadelphia, and they're number 7 against tight ends. So I think Daniels is going to have a tough night. Now, I also thought the other night that Tua and Tyreek would put up big numbers, but the numbers, the analytics in the last 4 weeks for fantasy points on average per game, Philadelphia is the lowest for quarterbacks, giving up quarterback points, running back, and wide receiver. because of that, okay, I would say Murray, but let me double check. Well, I can just look it up, I guess. Oh my God, all these idiots. I'm just going to have to. All right. Thank you, Nathaniel. I'll have to make you a moderator. All right. So Murray plays. Wait a minute. Oh, Kyler Murray's on a bye, Jackson. Yeah. Kyler Murray's on a bye, so you might have to play Daniels. Yeah, Jackson, Murray is not playing this weekend. He's on a bye. So if you only have those two quarterbacks right now, unless you want to pick one up, you're going to have to play Daniels. But thank you, though, for the rose. I do appreciate it. John, you're up. Pick one, Johnston, Pearsall, or Jamo. Okay. Johnston, let me see. Let me just look all of them up. My keyboard is way too far away from me right now. I mean, Johnston's had two pretty good weeks back to back. He had 20 points and then 9.4. They play Cincinnati. Cincinnati's not, well, let's double check here. They're 22nd. Okay, so Cincinnati and Johnston, I'm just going to write that down. Johnston, 22nd. Yeah, Nathaniel, probably whoever is next. This guy's like coming up with, silly names and saying silly things. I'll probably have to ban who's ever next. Okay, so Johnston, oh boy, my chat, I got to pause my chat here because it just ran wild. All right, so we went through Jackson, we're going through John, and then we'll answer DSAL. But I'm answering John's question right now. Okay, Pearsall. Let me just double check Pearsall. And just so you know, if you guys don't realize, this is the guy that got shot in the off season and he came back. Obviously he lived. So, all right. He had 15 points, 9 and 3. That was against Tampa Bay. He plays Seattle. Seattle is against wide receivers. 30th. All right. And then we have, I should have wrote it down. Oh, Jamo. All right. Now he's coming back. He had 6.8. He was out there. They played Jacksonville, which is the Jags. Actually, the Jags against wide receivers are number 8. So the best matchup is Pearsall. And actually, he's been one of the more consistent ones out of the 3 names. So I would go with Pearsall based on the matchups because he's going up against the Seahawks, and they're ranked 30th out of 32 teams over the last 4 weeks. So that's why I would go with him. All right. A real quick reset before I get to DSAL or DSAL 19. Don't forget to hit that like button on YouTube and TikTok. Also hit follow on TikTok so you know that I'm live. I probably will be live tomorrow, but it's not 100%. I'll definitely be live sometime on Saturday and maybe on Sunday on the recurring player updates. Yeah, you can ask me questions anytime, but you do that anyway, Nathaniel. And then if you're on YouTube, you can hit subscribe and definitely hit that like button, anybody out there. So, but definitely hit that like button on TikTok because we have 451 likes. I'd like to get that number a little bit higher. Okay, now we're down to DSAL. DSAL is the last. All right, trade Evans and Ferguson for Kittle and Jacoby. Yeah, I mean, I would. Evans. Well, let me look up Jacoby. I looked him up last night, I know. But He's had some decent weeks. The last 2 weeks, he's put up 14 points. Evans has obviously been injured and out. Kittle, I think outside of last week, there for a while was putting up really good numbers. And just so you know, in the short term, Ferguson is questionable, and he only had 2.4 points last weekend. But you're trading Evans and Ferguson for Kittle and Jacoby? Wow. Wow. You're getting Kittle. I mean, I guess the person really wants Evans. I'm assuming, D-Sale, that you're giving up those you're giving up Evans and Ferguson, and you're getting Kittle and Jacoby. I would actually say that, Jacoby, he's Evans puts up bigger numbers, but Jacoby's been steady the last 2 weeks with 14 points. They don't have much of a quarterback in Minshew, but those are good points for a 10-team league. You want to be over 13. So, yeah, thank you, Nathaniel, for getting those likes up. And then Ferguson is nowhere near Kittle. I mean, Kittle had an off week last week for him anyway, but yeah, Kittle is if he's not number one in points for tight ends, he's pretty close. Now, Kittle, he had 13 points. So what am I saying? Okay. He's had, since week 4, he's gone 12.5, 16, 20, 12.2, 21, 13.2. He's having a masterful season. Okay, let me just see what they say, though. Said that he doesn't have much concern about Kittle's hamstring stats for Sunday's game. Despite the tight end not practicing Wednesday, Nick Wagner, Kittle has tended a variety of health concerns. Kittle's ensuing activity level thus will be of interest as the 49ers. Okay. Kittle's current issue is hamstring irritation. It looks like he'll probably play, but I don't have any confirmation that he's definitely going to play. So, but yeah, I think it's a great trade. I think getting Kittle and Jacoby, I don't know if Jacoby can keep putting up 14 points every week, but that's pretty good considering the Raiders don't really have a quarterback and their offense is a disaster. Evans is going to put up his points. It remains to be seen how much he'll be targeted now that Baker Mayfield has sort of some new targets in Otten he's using more, and White out of the backfield, and Bucky Irving and all that. He passes more too. And Jamie, you're next. Thank you for the tiny diny. Thank you, Jamie. You will be next. All right. But yeah, that trade sounds great. All right, Jamie. And then the person, who is that? The person that doesn't have a name. And I want to say that might be the same person, but since you don't have a name, I don't know if it's the same person as before. All right. Trade Chase and Cook for Saquon and Jefferson. Yeah. I mean, okay, here's the thing. Jefferson is very, very, very steady. And he gives you like in the teens, like 15, 16, 17 points almost every week. I mean, maybe he had 10 one week, maybe he had 12. Sometimes he gets 18. He doesn't often get 20. He gives you about 15 and it's steady. Okay. So that's now Chase, on the other hand, is a little bit more inconsistent, but that's a bad word to say in my head because, he puts up pretty good points every week. The thing about Chase is, that what was it? Last week he had 49 points, almost 50. So he has a higher ceiling, Chase does. Now, Cook, on the other hand, he's been losing some touches because of Ray Davis, sort of like the backup or the number 2 running back with Buffalo. Saquon's not losing anything. Jefferson's not losing anything. Jefferson, like I said, is very steady. Let's say steady at 15, steady at 15, steady at 15. And then, but Chase can give you 9, or he can give you like 28. All right. So you're trading away someone who has a real high ceiling that could make your week for someone who's puts up very good numbers week in and week out. And Cook, I'm glad you're trading him away. I'm assuming that's what you're doing, Jamie, because some of his touches have been taken away by Ray Davis. So, and you're getting Saquon, who's, an elite running back. I mean, basically, this trade involves what I consider 3 elite players. Chase is at the top. Jefferson's at the top of wide receivers. They're in that group. Nico Collins is there. I think I'm forgetting one, but the other person that might be just below them would be St. Brown. And then Saquon, Derrick Henry, and Bijan are all elite. They're top three of, I got to stop doing that with my pen. So yeah, I think it's a great trade. You're getting two elite guys. You're not maybe getting that ceiling with the wide receiver, that high ceiling, but you're getting a real steady one. So good job, Jamie. All right. The person who doesn't have a name, I'm thinking, is this the same person as the other night? Yeah, I believe it is, because I think you've donated it in the past. All right. I'm glad you're back. I wish you had a name so I could call you something, but you even your avatar is just gray and light gray. Don't forget to hit that like button when you're on YouTube, and especially on TikTok. We're only at 619 likes on TikTok. Let's get that up to 1,000. Also, don't forget to hit follow so you know when I'm live. All right, start 2. London Ridley, Aaron Jones. Let me look up London. The one thing I'll say about London is earlier in the season, he was very consistent. He was putting up very good points. Hey, we're already up at 855 likes. Thank you, guys. He did have a decent week last week with 13.7. And just so you guys know, if you've listened to me at all in the past, a lot of you play in a 10-team league, and in a 10-team league, you want your wide receivers and running backs and flex to get 13 or more points. You want your quarterback at 19 or more. You want your kicker and defense at 10 or more, average per week. And then you want your tight end at kicker, defense, 10. You want your tight end at 7 or more, okay? And if you get those numbers, and you can even get a little higher. I said minimum of 13, but that puts you at right around 100. And if they get a little over, you're talking 110, 115. So a team after 10 weeks is 6-4. It's 8-2. Kind of depends on who you play, but you're going to be very competitive if you can do that. Don't look at the names. Like Tyreek is not the same Tyreek that was last year. CeeDee Lamb is not putting up the same number of points he put up last year. He's still a quality receiver, but there's obviously now a Dak out of the game for the rest of the season. He's not going to put the names up. All right. London goes against Denver. Denver's actually dropped off against wide receivers. They're ranked in they're 21st in the last 4 weeks. So I would go with London. Okay. And let me look up Ridley, because I already know Aaron Jones. The thing that scares me about Aaron Jones is he's only actually put up 10 points the last couple of weeks, like every game kind of thing, where it's like, oh my God, that's not enough. Oh, and he's questionable too. Yeah, he's had 11, 10, 10 going backwards. Let's just see. Practice. He was a limited practice today. You'll have to check Aaron Jones tomorrow to even know if he can play. It might be, we might not even be able to make a decision on that, because he might not even play. Hesse, I see you. Unless you are asking different questions, I will get to you. You're right after this guy here. You don't have to keep posting it. I see you, and I will get to you. Okay. I'm just on the guy with the smiley, or with no name. Yeah. Hey, it is you. All right, good. I'm going to try to remember you, but it's kind of hard since you don't even have a name. It was Aaron Jones, and then Ridley was the other person, right? Okay. I wish I could just tap on that and it would bring up. Yeah, Ridley. Okay. Let me look up Ridley real quick. Aaron Jones hasn't been putting up those numbers, though. That's the problem. He's had under 13. And if you're in a 10-team league or less, you want better numbers than 10 and 11 points. Now, if you're in a 12 or 14-team league and he's putting up like Aaron Jones's 10, 11 points, that's not nearly as bad, especially a 14-team league. Okay, Calvin Ridley goes up against Minnesota. Minnesota against wide receivers, they're 22nd. So I would go Ridley and London, actually, based on the matchups and the fact that Aaron Jones has not really. Let's just see. He goes up against Tennessee against running backs. I don't think they're very good, but let me just double check. Yeah, they're 31st. They give up 23.9. The only thing that scares me about Aaron Jones is the fact that he had 10 points against the Rams. He had 10 points against Indy. He had 11 points against Jacksonville. So what that and the issue is, in the last 3 weeks, when he had 10, 10, and 11, he's not scoring any touchdowns. He's catching the ball, he's running with the ball, and he has 58, 64, and 88 yards rushing. He has 37, 18, and 13 yards receiving, but he's not scoring touchdowns. So the offense is a little bit different probably when they're on the 1 or 2 yard line. But yeah, I would go with London and Ridley. And I know Aaron Jones has a more favorable matchup. The only thing that worries me about him is he's played favorable matchups and he hasn't gotten over 11 points. So that's why I'm rooting or voting against him in this one. All right. So that was the guy that with no name that gave it Tiny Dining. We're going to go to Hecky or Heck or Asi. Don't even get me started. I can barely pronounce my name half the time. Traded Reed and Brian Robb for Kyron Dub. For Kyron. Okay. I thought maybe you meant Dobbs. Sorry. You traded. Trading Jaden Reed was fine. Brian Robinson Jr. Isn't in the same. Yeah, I think he did well. The thing about Jaden Reed is you almost can't start him. And why I'm saying that is, and I know it's not like I'm against him. I'm not against players. I'm just trying to be very upfront. You can't really play Reed because 1 week he'll have 15 points, the next week he'll have 3. And part of that issue is Jordan Love throws to multiple people. He throws to Reed, he throws to Dobbs, he throws to Wicks, and he throws to the tight end Kraft. And so by spreading the love around, George, I see it, and I will get to your question. Where am I at? I'm with Hecky now. Let me just see. I have Hecky, Matthew. Oh, come on, move. I see the one message. Guys, please try not to spam me, BS. Please. I see your thing, but I have a bunch of people who have donated, all right? And I got to get to them first. All right. Oh, boy. Hecky. I'm doing Hecky. So yeah, I think you won on that. Jaden Reed is a great one to trade, so I have no problem with that at all. What is this thing doing? All right. Now we go to Matthew. Matthew's next. I'm just going in order, guys. I know, George, you've sent a bunch. I will get to you next. I promise you're next on the list anyway. I'm just looking for Matthew right now. Let's see. Matthew. All right, we have 1,700 likes on TikTok. Keep hitting that like button. Let's get it to 2,000. Also, don't forget to follow so you know when I'm on live. Gilbert's. All right. Yeah, Gilbert's back. Hey, how you doing, Gilbert? See, there's a name I recognize because the guy has a name. My buddy with no name, okay, Matthew, here we go. Find you. Zay, Tyreek, Nico, sit one. Oh man, okay. I almost want to say sit Tyreek. No, but the Raiders are really bad. Raiders against the Raiders are number 6 against so Tyreek goes up against number 6, so you might want to sit him anyway because they have such a good defense. Let me look up Nico real quick. They go play Dallas. Dallas against 26th. So yeah, I would definitely play Nico. Make sure that he's playing though. Read that little notepad by his name to just make sure, in case he takes a step back or something like that. And I'm on the wrong. And then Zay. Let me look up Zay real quick. Baltimore plays Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is number 13. Let me just see what Zay did last week, too. I know I looked it up, I think, at least once yesterday. I think he had an okay game after being a little inconsistent. Well, no, I take that back. He had a bad game. He only had 5 points, but before that, he had 27 and 15. He goes up against Pittsburgh, Wow. Against Cincinnati, he was targeted 6 times. He only had 34 yards, 4 catches. Against Denver, he had 27 points. He scored 2 touchdowns. Zay's a little, I would say right now, Zay's a little inconsistent. And then you got to figure out like where Deontay Johnson comes into all this, because when he got the 27 points, Deontay Johnson probably opened things up and made it easier for him. But then he plays Cincinnati and he only gets 5 points. But I would definitely say that, that he has a chance against Pittsburgh. Cincinnati, though, against the Bengals are tied for 22nd. Why was that? I'm actually thinking now maybe Tyreek's a better get, but no, I would go Flowers and Nico on that one. I would go Flowers on Nico based on the matchups. All right, so that was Matthew. Now I'm going to George. After George, I have Gilbert, and then I have Steven. So I have George, my man Gilbert, and I have returning to the ring, Stephen Murphy. Steven's, I see him at least once a week. So don't forget to hit that like button on TikTok, guys. We're at 1,700 and holding. And don't forget, if you're on YouTube, hit subscribe, hit like. On TikTok, hit follow. That way you know when I'm live. All right. So I have George. I know that okay. Do I start Devontae Smith and Brian Robinson? Well, here's the thing about starting any Redskins tonight. I think the analytics are telling me in the last 4 weeks, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to be as clear as I can be, George. And I know we don't have a lot of time. We have some time, obviously, at least an hour or so. But Philadelphia in the last 4 weeks, when it comes to what they average, the points they average per game for quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers, they're number one with the lowest number of fantasy points for quarterback that they allow. The Eagles against quarterbacks in the last 4 weeks, 13.1, which is well below the 19 that I'm always saying you want in a 10-team league for a quarterback. Against running backs, they're number one. The Eagles defense, they only allow 8.3 points on average to running backs. Wide receivers, they're number one, 10 points in the last 4 weeks against wide receivers. And oh, by the way, tight ends, they're number 7. So they're 1, 1, 1, and number 7. There's not even a team close to that. Okay. There's not even a team close to that. I think that they're trending in the right direction. And what I mean by that is they're going to be super, super tough tonight. And that's why there's a part of me that says, I don't like, maybe with Robinson, you can play him because he's a running back, less pressure, less drops, doesn't have to get the ball right to him, doesn't have to worry about running a route per se if he, rushes more often. But for the most part, you could start him, but they're number one against running backs. Number one. Philadelphia, 8.3 points. If Robinson gets 8.3 points and you're in a 10-team league, you got to make up 5 points from another player. So you're already behind. Eight is not a bad number. Don't get me wrong. It's not horrible. It's not quite average. I would say 10 is average, but it's better than 3. But I just would stay away from any, George, I would stay away from the Commanders right now. And Devontae Smith, the Commanders against wide receivers, the Eagles are number 1, the Commanders are number 4. So, theoretically, this could be a bigger defensive game than we're even leading on. We keep talking about the offenses and Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and Jaden Daniels and how good the offense has been. This could be one of those 15-12 kind of games. The offense or the defenses are pretty good. I just think though, I think Washington's going to hit a buzzsaw tonight, and it's not going to be fun for them. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on Daniels. I don't think Daniels is going to be able to put up Daniels type numbers, and that's why I would just be leery of that. I mean, if you want to go with Devontae Smith, but he's going up against the fourth best defense against wide receivers. The Eagles are number one. The Commanders are number 4 against wide receivers. So it's going to be tough. Now, obviously, if you have to play one of them, you'd want to play Devontae Smith only because it's a little bit better of a matchup from 1 to 4. Like, for instance, Eagles wide receivers 10, Commanders 14.2. So it's if Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, somebody's going to get, one of them is going to have 14 points and the other one might have 3. It could be one of those type games, or like I was predicting the other, I think it was it Sunday when the Rams played? Was that Sunday or last Thursday? Basically meaning that, one might get 14, the other one might get 10. They're too smart to get shut out or have, 2 4s or something like that. But one of them probably gets 13, 80 yards and a touchdown maybe, and the other one maybe gets, 70 yards and no touchdown, and they get, 8 points, and maybe they rush once or something silly that they scheme. But other than that, I mean, that's what I'm thinking. That would be the only player I'd feel comfortable telling you, go ahead and start. So sorry about that, George. I mean, I wish I could tell you start, whoever, right? We have Gilbert, and then we're going to go to Stephen Murphy. Where's Gilbert here? My man, Gilbert. Thank God, after I was talking to him the other night, and he said, just call me Gilbert, because I was trying to pronounce his name on TikTok. All right. Oh, that was the second part of his question. Gilbert, here we go. How you been, man? I've been pretty good. And should I start Chase Brown or Aaron Jones? Well, as I said earlier, Aaron Jones has not been putting up 13 points. He goes up against Tennessee. Tennessee is not great against running backs, but Aaron Jones went against, let's see where Jacksonville is. Jacksonville against running backs is 27. Tennessee's 31. Okay. He went up against Indy and the Rams. The Rams I think they're a little bit better. The Rams are 4th, and the Colts are actually 11th. But he did not have very good points against, he only had 10 points against these 3 teams, and they go up against the Titans. So let me look up Chase Brown. The Cincy plays, and again, they play the Chargers. Now, the Chargers are pretty good defensively. Number 3 against the run. They give up 11.8 points against the run. So let me just look. So that's that's a much tougher matchup. Because of the fact that Chase Brown, hey, George sent a donut. Thank you, George. I love when I get donuts. I like the friendship necklace thing as well, but I always love the donuts. I would actually say, because I would say Aaron Jones based on the matchup, because no, not Calvin Ridley. Who was it? Oh, Chase Brown. Wait a second. I just had him up. Hold on. Maybe I didn't have him up. Chase Brown plays the Chargers. That's the only thing I looked up. Okay. But he's had 17, 24, and 10. Now, the Chargers are much tougher. Okay. But he played Philadelphia. He got 10 points. And we know Philadelphia is number 1 against the run, at least over the last 4 weeks. He played them 3 weeks ago. Now, he played Vegas, got 24 points. Vegas is 20th. And then he had Baltimore. Baltimore's dropped against the run. They were number 1 for some time. They're 19 now. Yeah, you know what? I would actually go with Chase Brown, given the momentum that he has, And the fact that against Philadelphia just 3 weeks ago, he got 10 points and they're number 1 and he's not even playing. I mean, the Chargers, what did I say? They're number 3, but they average, the Eagles over the last 4 weeks average 8.3 points allowed in fantasy for running backs. The Chargers are 3.5 points worse at 11.8. So Chase Brown probably gets you right around 11 to 14 points, depending upon if he can, score a touchdown. So I think he's the best bet right there. All right. So that was Gilbert. I got George. I know I had Stephen Murphy. I'm just seeing if anybody else. Oh, there's a Mason. Okay. So it's Stephen and then Mason. Mason, you'll go after Stephen. Unless anybody who's gifted has, another question and I notice it. But okay, so I'm looking for Stephen. I know he had something. I see Mason's question, so thank you. I'll get to those right after Stephen. I know we have a lot of people that have been posting things, so hold on one second. I'll get to that. I know I'd take a while. Anybody who's new, you guys, I mean, in the chat, you can remind everyone, I do look things up and it slows me down and I do sort of, try to give you the why as to why I'm picking people and why I think one person might be a little bit better than the other. Wow, Simpy, you really, you don't, if you're still around, Simpy, you don't need to keep spamming me. All right. Where's Stephen Murphy? I thought he had a question. Stephen, would you play Hockenson or Kittle this week or play both? Well, you could play both while I'm waiting here. There's somebody on YouTube. You could play Kittle. Hockenson still, I mean, we don't have a lot of information. There we go. Traded Nico Robinson Jr. and Keenan Allen for Kyren and Neighbors. Okay, so Nico is an elite wide receiver. Robinson Jr. is just below that. Keenan Allen doesn't have any value anymore. Kyren is much better than Robinson. I mean, Kyren and Nico are probably obviously 2 different positions, but they're probably close to each other. And I would say that Robinson Jr. probably right now better than Neighbors because Neighbors, he's not putting up the points that he did before the injury, before the concussion. I think he's been getting 10 points like Tyreek and so many Aaron Jones and all these other players have been doing. So I'm not worried about Keenan Allen. He doesn't have much value. Okay. I'm just saying Nico and Robinson Jr. for Kyren and Neighbors. I don't love that trade. And the reason why is I believe that Nico is elite. I believe Kyren is just like, I believe it's Saquon, Derrick Henry, Bijan, then Kyren. When it comes to wide receivers, I think in no particular order, it's Jefferson, Nico. Oh, God. Jefferson, Nico. Well, but CD's not putting up the points. Jefferson, Nico. Oh, and Chase. And then, yeah, you did okay by getting Kyren Williams. My only question is, do you have other wide receivers? Because you're not going to be, you might start Neighbors this week. Maybe, I don't even know who else you have. Maybe because of a bye or something like that. But Neighbors isn't putting up points. I can't even recommend starting him. He's not putting up close to 13 points. So I don't, Steven, I hate to be the bearer of not such great news. I don't think you won that because Neighbors is not putting those points up. And Daniel Jones, I don't like the offense led by him at all. So, all right. Sorry about that, Steven. I know you're really loyal. I hate to break that kind of news to you. All right. We have Mason and then Luke. Oh, and yes, because of bye weeks. Okay. I got you. Well, it makes sense. You have JJ and Chase, so you don't have to worry about it. So in that case, Steven, you probably did yourself really good. because you took something that wasn't an asset per se in Nico and you made it an asset with a running back. Although you could have put Nico at flex, but I don't know what you might have really good wide receivers. So, all right, Mason. I know I saw that earlier. Let me get up to Mason. Oh, up. There's Mason. Trade AJ Brown for Walker and Ladd. So Kenneth Walker. Okay, AJ Brown, in my mind, is an elite, but he's underneath those. The Jefferson, Chase, and Nico. He's underneath them. All right. Walker is not elite, but he's that next tier. But I have Kyron Williams kind of in between the elite and that second tier. And then you got Ladd thrown in. Now, the one thing with Ladd is I know that he has good weeks. Now, I'll turn to YouTube when I'm all caught up. I have Luke still to get to after this, but then I'll turn to YouTube and get to you guys. I know you've been waiting for a while. But getting Ladd, the one thing about it is Ladd will have, hey, smiley face with the teeth. All right. I'll get to you too after Luke. Okay, so the thing with Ladd is he puts up, I think 3 weeks ago he had 25 points, but if you look at his numbers since then, I don't even think he's gone into double digits. So it's really hard for me to say, if you're in a 10-team league, it's hard for me to say that you can start Ladd McConkey because literally it's, he had 26 points in week 8, week 9, 8.9, week 10, 6.2. Okay. So he's extraordinarily inconsistent and he's, he's someone you can put on your bench and hope that he starts turning things around and becomes more consistent. But it's like you got to pick and choose when to play him because week 4, he had 15, he had a bye, week 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 26, then 8, then 6. When are you going to start him? Unless you're in like a 20-man league or a 20-team league, I would never start the guy because I'd be afraid he'd get a 6. And in a 10-team league, like I have 3 teams and 2 of them are 10-team leagues, he's not going to put up enough points. He just won't put up enough points for me to start. Okay. So now I'm to Luke, but I think he's farther down. You're a 12-man league, so I also have JJ and DK. Yeah, so you're fine with JJ and DK. DK's coming back, so you're fine. All right. Smiley face with the teeth, and then Alex. All right. Let me find Luke real quick. Let me jump on YouTube real quick. Would you play Hockenson or Kittle this week or play both? I would play Kittle. I'm not sure I would play Hockenson. Let me just look up if he put up any numbers last week. I know that he's coming back, and they were taking it slow with him, but he did have 11 points against Jacksonville. Tennessee against tight ends. Real quick. Come on, the Titans are 20th, but I would still play Kittle. I don't know that I would play Hockenson at flex because he only had 11 points last week. And that's in a 10-team league. You don't want your flex just getting 11 points. Let's see. Trade JT and Garrett Wilson for Saquon. Already have JJ and Neighbors. Yeah, I would do it. Jonathan Taylor is inconsistent. They have Richardson the rest of the year. God forbid, if they have to put Flacco back in, he looked awful the last game. So they're going to be inconsistent. Garrett Wilson was putting up good numbers up until last week. So yeah, I think you made out. I don't think having Neighbors is a big sell anymore because he's not putting up the same points he was before his concussion. That's part of the issue there. But having JJ and Saquon will help you out. But, unless Daniel Jones rights the ship a little bit, you're going to be hurting. All right. Caitlin, you'll be after Alex. Let me jump back to TikTok. See, Russell Wilson or Matthew Stafford rest of the season. I would go Matthew Stafford because he has his guys back. And Russell Wilson, if you notice, doesn't put up a lot of points because that offense, it's a better offense with him than with Fields. But I would use Matthew Stafford with Puka and Kupp back. All right. Luke. I'm looking for Luke here on TikTok. Don't forget to hit like on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the like button. We're at 2,100. Let's get to that 2,500 on TikTok. Don't forget to hit like. Oh, you're welcome, Mason. Thank you very much. I see Alex. Let me look at Luke. I know. I'm pretty sure I saw Luke's question. I see smiley face with the teeth. Where's Luke? Because he's the only one I have. Luke. I thought I saw Luke. Don't forget to hit like. Don't forget to hit subscribe on YouTube and hit follow. There's Luke. All right. Hit follow on TikTok. All right. Breece Hall for Jayden Daniels. Okay. Luke, are you giving up Breece Hall for Jayden Daniels? And I'm assuming you meant and Jerome Ford. I'm not worried about Jerome Ford that much. I don't think he's really put up. I'll just look. I looked him up like 2 weeks ago. I don't think he's got Chubb in front of him, so he doesn't really have value anymore, Ford. Like I wouldn't even worry about getting him. He's not even someone I would say, oh, you got to get him. He's not even playing very much, Luke. Hold on. Please try not to spam me on TikTok, guys. I'm not gonna get to it if you spam me. Airborne's here tonight. Airborne. Okay. This is Luke. Mason, I'll look, but Alex is new, and then Caitlin. So it'll be Smiley. I'm on Luke right now. It'll be Smiley Teeth, Alex, and Caitlin. And if I see Mason with any more questions, I will ask away. But Maya, please don't spam me. Please don't spam me. Because then I just got to scroll through it, and if you guys want your stuff read, send me a gift. And it's 1 penny. I'm not asking for $1. I'm not breaking the bank here. Where's Luke's question? Because now I can't even remember what his question was. Darn it. And this thing keeps jumping around. Okay. He's above Steven, I believe. Sorry about this, guys. Don't forget to hit that like button. We're at 2,100. We're not at 2,500 yet. Come on. Where's Luke? There we go. Breece Hall. Okay. So Luke, I'm assuming you're giving up Breece Hall because usually everybody puts who they're giving up first for Jayden Daniels and Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford doesn't have any value. This trade is Breece Hall for Jayden Daniels. If you're getting Jayden Daniels, my guess is you need a quarterback. And unless you're trading for Jayden Daniels, to play when maybe your quarterback has a bye. Don't forget, everybody. This is a reminder. I'm not trying to be like your teacher, but there's buys this week. Obviously, y'all know about those. Hey, Caitlin, 40 roses. Wow. Yes, I will get to you. I promise. I just go in the order though. There's buys this week. There's a bunch of teams with buys in week 12. There's a bunch of teams with buys in week 14. So you want to watch for that. You want to make sure that you have your kicker. Like a lot of teams are down to one defense and one kicker and one tight end. Make sure, you have them covered, or, they've already had their buys. I would say Breece Hall for Jayden Daniels alone, not even worrying about Jerome Ford. He doesn't have value. I would say that's a good trade. Breece Hall has been, if you're trading Breece Hall and getting Jayden Daniels, while he's not putting up the numbers he was a couple weeks ago per se, Breece Hall has been really inconsistent to the point where he's not even scoring double digits every week anymore. Like I have Breece Hall on, I think, just one of my teams, but I don't even start him anymore because I don't know if he's going to get 8 points or he hasn't put up anything in the last 3 weeks. He hasn't put up any good numbers in the last 3 weeks. Let me just give you a rundown of his numbers real quick. Breece Hall in the last 3 weeks, 9, 9, and 10.3. And if you're in a 14-team league, those numbers aren't that bad. But in a 10-team league, which many of you are in, those numbers are no good. I wouldn't recommend starting him. He may be he may even be an elite type of running back, but he hasn't shown anything since week 7 and week 6 when he had 19 and 23 points. Since then, he had 42 points then in 2 weeks. The last 3 weeks, he's had 38. So, yeah, he's very inconsistent. So it's a good trade, is what I'm saying, Luke. All right. Took a long time for that. Let me get the smiley face, Alex, and then Caitlin. Sorry to make everybody wait. I do apologize for that. I'm looking for smiley face. I believe he's with the teeth because I have very loyal. I am crazy for starting Tillman over Terry. I don't think so at all. Am I crazy? No. Here's the thing. Terry's got to go up against Philadelphia's defense. Philadelphia's defense in the last 4 weeks in fantasy is number one, gives up the lowest amount of points per game to quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers. They're ranked number one for the last 4 weeks, lowest number of fantasy points, quarterback, running back, wide receiver. Oh, and by the way, I always like to make this a little dramatic. By the way, they're 7th against tight ends. So I don't think that's crazy at all. And Tillman, I think, actually has, what are they going? I want to say the Saints. Is that right? Yeah, they're going up against the Saints. The Saints against running backs are 20th. So it's a good matchup for Tillman. I've actually put Tillman on my teams. Now, hey, I might get crushed for it. I told my son to do the same thing. But he is a much better matchup, a much, much better matchup. So, no, you're not crazy, smiley face with the teeth. I'm assuming that's your only question. All right. Now we go to Alex, then we'll go to Caitlin, and then we'll be caught up with gifting. So if you want to make sure your question's read, does Mason have another? No, that's, wow, I'm really, really behind. I apologize so much. I spent too much time on someone. Okay. Alex. I'm so far behind, I can't even find Alex's question. I shouldn't be laughing. That's not nice. Airborne's here. Come on. Austin, no. I'm looking for Alex. God, I hate that I have to scroll. Why can't I just hit their name when they gift me and then their question comes up? Oh, God, this is so boring. It's such a waste. Hit that like button while I'm doing this. We're not even at 2,500 likes. Come on. Please. Come on, hit that like button. Hit that follow button so you know when I'm on. Okay, Alex. Okay, here we go. Wait, is this the same Alex? This isn't this. Oh, God, is this the same Alex? No, it's a different Alex. Never mind. Or they have different avatars. Okay, Alex, I'm going to go down to Caitlin. Resend your question, please, like in all caps so it stands out. I'm going to go to Caitlin, and it could be one of 3 things. I didn't see it. You actually didn't have a question regarding Alex asked his question. Oh, I didn't see it. I resent it. Okay. Alex resent it. Okay, hold on. Metcalf, St. Brown, Dobbins, Hunt, Swift, McLaurin, Ridley, sit 2. Come on. You're giving me 7 names? Well, I would sit McLaurin based on the fact that they're number 1. Philadelphia's number 1 in that. I would say that Swift, that Chicago offense looks abysmal. St. Brown goes up against Jacksonville. That should be a good matchup for them. Seattle. See, I don't remember these things. I should always remember these things, but I never do. Seattle goes up against San Fran. San Fran's 10, so relatively tough. Dobbins. Let's see here. Dobbins is a little inconsistent. Goes up against Cincinnati. They can pass against well, he can run, I guess. What is Cincinnati against a running back, though? Yeah, actually, they're number 5. I would go McLaurin. I would go McLaurin and Swift. I think Green Bay is going to get after Chicago. I mean, they're going to. And let's just see what Green Bay is. No, they're not. Where is the big G? Oh, they're 21. But I think that offense with Caleb Williams is so bad in Chicago that it doesn't have, like, the offense itself doesn't have value. I would sit McLaurin and Swift, Alex. Metcalf should be fine. St. Brown should be fine. Dobbins will be fine. Hunt will be fine. Ridley will be fine. McLaurin and Swift based on this, well, Swift based on that offense, and McLaurin based that they're playing Philadelphia, and Philadelphia's number 1 defense fantasy wise, quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and number 7 against tight ends. So, all right, Caitlin, thank you for helping me out or helping me find Alex's question. That was all right. Let's see, Caitlin, and then we have Eric. Eric's after Caitlin. All right. I would, oh boy, BJ, Goff, Stroud, or Daniels. I think Daniels is going to have a tough night. I think Stroud has not been playing well, but I think Goff, what did he have? 5 interceptions? Let me see. Do you have any mods? I could help if you want. Yeah, send me a DM, Caitlin. Maybe that's a good idea. Don't forget, everybody, to share the live too. I always forget to ask that. Mooney or Pickens this week? Ooh, see, I've lately I've been really on the bandwagon with Pickens, and you can pass against Baltimore now. Baltimore's dead last in passing, and Pickens is a clear number 1. All right, Mooney. The only problem with Mooney is he, it's him in London. There, it's almost a share kind of thing between the two of them. Oh, he's questionable. Falcons added Darnell Mooney to Thursday's injury report. Mooney was listed as limited on Thursday's report. Well, you might not have to make that decision, Caitlin, because it looks like Mooney was placed on the injury report today, which isn't usually a good sign because it came out of nowhere. So he must have got injured during practice, kind of thing. Mooney is quietly having one of his best years of his career. He's currently sitting on his absence would be felt by the Falcons offense if he's unable to play. You're going to have to, Caitlin, I hate to say it, but you're going to have to look at and see if he practices tomorrow. That's a good thing. He'll probably play. If he's limited, it's maybe 50-50. If he doesn't practice tomorrow, he's probably not going to play. So you'll have to look at the little notepad behind their names and, look at that. So, all right. Yeah, Caitlin, send me a DM about moderating. I would appreciate that. I probably need something sometimes. All right. And now I have Eric, and I see his question. Start 3, Tyreek, DK, Tillman, Pickens, McConkey. DK, Tillman, and Pickens. But McConkey is super inconsistent. Tyreek can't get over 11 points. We know Pickens can in the last 3 weeks. We know Tillman has, and DK comes back to Seattle. He's the number 1, and they play San Fran, who actually, as I said a moment ago, they're number 10, but he should probably get 70 yards kind of thing. Maybe no touchdowns, but it'll give you 10, 11 points. I'm just worried that Tyreek's stuck. The Raiders. The Raiders against passing are number 6. So actually Tyreek has a harder matchup. So yeah, I would go DK, Tillman, and Pickens. Again, McConkey can put up 26, but then in the next 2 weeks or three weeks, he puts up 3 or 6 points. Okay. In any league, you don't want to get 3 or 6 points, but I'm always talking about a 10-team league, and you want your wide receivers, you want your running backs to be at 13 points. And that's nowhere near that, but DK should be close. I would say 10 to 12, 10 to 13. Tillman should be 13 or over, or 12 or over at least. And Pickens could easily be, because Baltimore, you can pass against, you can put up numbers if you're a wide receiver. Pickens could be over 15. Like, I would say a minimum for him is 15. So, all right, we are actually all caught up on gifting. So if you want your question asked, oh, wow, I just was kicked off or something, right? It couldn't. Please, E, do not spam me. Please. It's really simple, guys. We're all caught up on gifting. So if you don't want to pay the money, like one rose, which costs 1 penny to jump to the front of the line to get your golden ticket, if you don't want to do that, which is fine, I'm not going to make anybody do that. But if you don't want to do that, you can follow me, or you can share this live stream and you will jump to the front of the, well, right now, since we're caught up on gifting, that's how you can jump ahead in line. So you can share the live, or you can follow me, or if you've gifted in the past, you now can jump up in line, because we are all caught up on gifting. And I don't think BJ is still around, but I would maybe go with golf on that, but he had such a bad game too. I would almost say Stroud over Daniels, and I don't even like that. When you drop Stroud, I would drop Stroud for Nix. I would actually play Nix out of all these guys if you're still around. All right. So if you shared it, if you followed me, or if you've gifted in the past, okay, they're all free. Not asking for any more gifts. If you want a gift, you jump to the front of the line. But if you didn't, I'm not seeing anybody that's shared this. I'm not seeing anybody that followed me. So I'm going to go backwards a little bit. And our numbers are all over the place. We have 50, then we have 30, then we have 18. Oh, man, I must be glitching, huh? Am I glitching tonight? Is that the problem? I'm glitching a lot, I guess, because I keep getting. All right, don't forget to hit that follow button. All right, so you know when I go live. Hit the like button. Let's try to get to 3,000 likes. We have just a few people on YouTube now. Okay, Caitlin, the live is lagging real bad. Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking, because it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna jump off of YouTube. We only have a few people on, so I'm going to end the YouTube stream in hopes that that kicks in high gear the TikTok, which I have a lot more people on.